Hello friends and welcome to my channel Ticket to Canada. Today again I'll be evaluating an essay of one of my subscriber, and if you want your essay to be evaluated, you are most welcome to drop your writing in the comment section and I'll certainly be getting back to you. Before starting the evaluation, I'll just request you all to please support my channel by subscribing my channel and hitting the like button. Without any further ado, let's jump to the question prompt. Human activity has a negative impact on plants and animals around the world. Some people think that this cannot be changed, while others believe action can be taken to bring about a change. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Jumping to the introduction. Wildlife across the globe is being adversely affected by several activities performed by human beings. Even though some people believe that the situation will remain unchanged, some think that necessary measures can be taken to solve the problem. Now, overall, you have very beautifully paraphrased the question, but there is one big blunder which you have made in the first line is wildlife. You are not being specific to wildlife. If you see the question prompt, it's mentioned that plants and animals. If you're using word wildlife, you are being specific to animals only. So the word wildlife is incorrect over here. But overall, you have very beautifully paraphrased the question. Moving on, this essay will discuss why certain human act cannot be altered, but why it is also possible to change the circumstances by carrying out some necessary initiatives. Now, instead of this line means this essay will discuss why certain human act cannot be altered, but why. No, instead of this, you should be writing that why some means this essay will discuss why some believe human act cannot be altered, however why it is possible, however some believe that there are certain corrective measures which should be taken. You should write it in this way. This is kind of incorrect, means this but why, instead of but why you should be using however, and instead of just jumping onto the human act, you should be writing some believe. Use the word believe. Okay, moving on to the introduction. Some individual conceive. I don't know why people try to come up with fancy words. Means of course you must come up with certain good vocabulary, but always keep this thing in mind that try to sound as natural as possible. People are means the examiner is looking for lexical resources, but it should be related to your topic. The word conceive is not kind of fitting over here. Instead of conceive, believe is a good word. Just write a word believe. It's please don't think of essay means writing task 2 in such a way that if other people are using the word believe, we can't. You can. It's not like that. If you're repeating the same word means copying the same word. It's the requirement of your essay. It's the requirement of your writing. Okay, so instead of conceive you should be writing believe, because in your day-to-day language you don't use the word conceive in this type of places that some individual conceive. No, we mostly use the word some people believe, some people have the notion. This type of word you must be using. Okay, moving on. Some people believe that they cannot get away from the harmful consequences of human activities on the earth, like destruction of trees and other living organisms, because some human act such as building infrastructure and expanding cities are required to enhancing the quality of lifestyle. It's good, but you must elaborate this idea. Means you should be writing something like that. If a city infrastructure should be built, the backbone of that infrastructure is timber or wood. This type of word you should be using so that it will be more comprehensive. Okay, this is kind of not that comprehensive, means not elaborated as much as required. Okay, so please elaborate this idea is good, but you fail to elaborate it. I have evaluated your other essay as well, and I have pointed the same mistake, and you did the same mistake again in this essay. You are very poor in writing examples. If we go through this example, for instance, it has been observed that nowadays people tend to live in modern cities and experience the state of the art facility that have been developed through human action. Okay, but where is it's where it's explaining that it kind of deteriorating our nature or deteriorating the flora and fauna. No, you're not explaining that. So it's an irrelevant example. Your example should be relevant to your explanation which you have made earlier before the example. So now if you are talking something about the building infrastructure of the city, then you should be mentioning something like that. If you say for instance, if we are expanding a city, it must come at the cost of deforestation, because if you need a place for if you need a place to expand, we must cut trees. This is a good example. Moving on, therefore, this is very evident why people think these cannot be changed. Okay, moving on to the main body paragraph 2. On the contrary, not on the contrary, it's not like on the contrary, people are not against to it, or you should be writing like that. In addition to the above mentioned problems, there are people who believe there are much better ways to overcome it. Okay, this is a better line. It will be more cohesive, I must say. Some people strongly believe that essential steps can be carried out to save the plant and animal around the world. Various activities can be taken into action to make it happen, like forestation, waste control, usage of eco-friendly products. Now, if we talk about this waste control or eco-friendly products, we haven't discussed anything about this earlier or in the main body paragraph 1. So in this way you are losing a band for coherence and cohesion, because it's not a very cohesive thing, because we don't know anything. From nowhere this eco-friendly products and waste control popped out. If you read the question prompt very carefully, it's a very interesting question, and if you write it in a comparative platform, you will certainly be getting, I believe, maybe 7.5 or 8 band for this essay if you write it as a comparative essay. I'll just explain you how. Let's jump to the question prompt once again. Human activity has had a negative impact on plants and animals around the world. Some people think that this cannot be changed, while others believe action can be taken to bring about a change. Now, what an examiner exactly is looking for in this type of question is that in the main body paragraph 1, you should answer this question. Some people think that this cannot be changed. Now you should answer this thing, that why people believe that this cannot be changed. To check your essay, that whether it's meeting the task response or not, just ask yourself this question, that whether you able to answer this question or not. That some people think that this cannot be changed. Were you able to answer this question in this main body paragraph 1? If you did, you are meeting the task response. If you did not, you are certainly losing a band for the same. And moving on to the second question prompt. While others believe that action can be taken to bring about changes. Now, were you able to mention those changes in this main body paragraph 2 or not? Means, while I was saying you must be comparative, what you should have done is that you should have mentioned certain problem, like you have mentioned the this infrastructure thing in main body paragraph 1. Then you should be coming up with the means alternates related to the infrastructure in main body paragraph 2. Like if you have mentioned that the expansion of the city will result in the deforestation, then you must have mentioned something in main body paragraph 2, like if you are say expanding a city, you must choose a open land and plant twice the trees as you have cut while making the construction. That will be a amazingly cohesive essay, I must say. Okay, if you write in such a way, you'll certainly be getting more than 7 band in your this task response. Okay, moving on to your example. To exemplify, in modern city in the first world country, it is seen that people have already started using environment friendly product and become more concerned about controlling waste and planting trees. This is not an example, buddy. This is, you're just giving a fact. This, and that's also not you can say means supported by any tangible proof. Okay, so this is a big blunder a person should make. The example in this you should be writing examples something like for instance, if you are planting twice the trees as you are cutting while expanding the city, you can easily overcome the problem of pollution. This type of example an IELTS examiner is looking for. I'll give you an idea to how to come up with an example. Is that whatever you have written before the example, the sentence which you have written before the example, your example should be in the similar lines, kind of elaborating that idea which you have put earlier. Okay, make sure to practice that. Moving on, these actions are evidently resulting in protection of the environment. Your closing sentence is very beautiful in both the main body paragraph 1 and main body paragraph 2. It's completely cool, but overall means you're certainly losing 2 wins for these 2 examples. It's not an example actually. Moving on to your conclusion, to recapitulate again, I'll request you all, means if you are comfortable, you can use it, but my personal suggestion is that you should stick to conclude. It's not like that you'll be not be getting a band or you'll be losing a band by using the word to conclude. It's a very beautiful word. It is cohesive. Use it. To conclude, human deeds on our planet are definitely responsible for some fatalistic outcome in nature. This essay discussed why these activities are inevitable, but why some crucial action can be performed to save the flora and fauna of the earth. On the earth, it will be on the earth. In my opinion, even though it is hard too difficult, no, you did a mistake over here. It's too hard or too difficult. Either you should use to bring about changes, but a course of action to save the planet is imperative. It's very beautiful conclusion. And again, in earlier essay also I've mentioned that you come up with a zest of whatever you have written in main body paragraph 1 and main body paragraph 2. You'll certainly be, if you are practicing this thing now, you'll certainly be getting an additional band for your coherence. Trust me. A zest of that, say, expanding the infrastructure of the city you have mentioned. So just give a bit of what you have discussed in the main body paragraph 1 and the alternate which you have came up with in main body paragraph 2. Try to practice it. Trust me, you'll be getting an additional band for the same. So overall, I'll say for grammatical range, you'll be getting a 7. I'll just like to point out one thing, that just it's very evident from reading your essay that there is no grammatical error as such. You must have taken any third-party support to make a grammatical correction. But still, if you did the same, make sure to whatever errors you must have found it, make sure to not repeat those errors, because it's quite kind of evident you don't have any grammatical error as such. You'll certainly be getting a 7 band for if you are writing this type of essay with such a grammar. For task response, certainly you'll be getting a band 5 because of the examples, and your main body paragraph 1 is not in alliance with the main body paragraph 2. For coherence and cohesion, I must say that it would be not more than a 6 band, because there's not very efficient use of cohesive devices. For lexical resource, you'll be getting 6 band. I don't know why, because it's a very beautiful question prompt with lots of vocabulary, climatic change type of words you can use, global warming must have you used in this type of essay, but you kind of stick to certain specific vocabulary. Apart from that, there are lots of repetition like human act here, human act, activities, human activities. Means just by reading this words, it's kind of evident that you kind of falling short of words, which you're certainly losing a band for the same. So overall, must say it would be a 6 or 6.5 band essay if you pay more attention towards your task response. Because in your earlier essay also you made errors in your task response. Please read the question prompt very carefully. If you give 5 minutes to your question, you'll certainly be up to the mark for your task response. And if you are up to the mark with your task response, trust me, no one can snatch 7.5 band or 8 band from your task response. So please read question very carefully and very slowly, so that you should easily comprehend what exactly an IELTS examiner is looking for. Because just by reading this question, it's really very easy to understand that you are supposed to write a comparative essay. So please make sure to do that. I think I'm done with this essay. If you have any query related to this essay, please feel free to drop your question, and I'll certainly be coming up with a relevant answer for the same. Hope you like this video. Please give a thumbs up and subscribe my channel. Thank you. All the best.